I'm sick of all the bullcrap we get fed every Thanksgiving, year after year. And no, I'm not talking about Granny's extra secret special crayon sauce. I'm talking about the true meaning and the disneyfied version behind Thanksgiving. Because let me tell you, everything you were taught in school was a lie. Secretly, we all knew it was fake. But what is the truth? It's a lot more terrifying than anyone would ever want it to be. And it involves the US government hiding the truth from us, from you. I'm of course talking about turkey time travel, and it's all been documented here in the movie Freebirds. Pretty, yeah? As every holiday comes around, one of the most festive things we can do is sit our ass on the couch and pop on a good holiday spirit movie. For some holidays it's a lot easier than others. You'll never be short of a good Halloween movie or a Christmas movie, one of my favorites being 8 Crazy Nights by Adam Sandler.
Don't tell me it's
Freebirds. Freebirds. But what about our beloved Thanksgiving? Why did I say it like that? But what about our beloved Thanksgiving? Maybe this year, instead of having a stroke watching the Lions play, I can actually enjoy a good holiday movie. Now, I'm of course talking about the movie Freebirds. Freebirds was produced in 2013 by RealFX Creative Studios and Relativity Media. Originally slated to be titled Turkeys, the name was scrapped and Freebirds was chosen along with a star-studded cast led by Owen Wilson, Amy Poehler, and Woody Harrelson. Now, although this movie wasn't the best, I do like a lot of the movies that these two companies have come out with. Movies including Relativity Media's Monster House and RealFX's Book of Life. And a fun fact, there's a movie made by Relativity Media called Tale of Despero, that there is a video game that came out for the PS2 and it is terrible, and me and Mackenzie are going to be doing a play along with it. So, stay tuned for that. It'll be rough. Real rough. The movie was met with widespread mixed and negative reviews from critics, but doubled its budget as it grossed $110 million against its $55 million budget. And for a Thanksgiving-themed movie, it doesn't surprise me that it did well at the box office, since it's a holiday that doesn't have much media themed around it, as it kind of now gets lumped into Christmas and New Year's time. It's all about shopping, Black Friday deals, Christmas deals, Plus, with Thanksgiving being one of those holidays that's a little whitewash celebration, especially today, I don't think that any of our podcast listening uncles are going to be changing their mind and realizing the truth behind Thanksgiving. As for other Thanksgiving movies, I really can't name any off the top of my head that don't suck. Besides Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, that movie is awesome.
You know goddamn well what.
That's a true Thanksgiving movie for you to watch. Overall, the movie is meh. It's one of those really bad movies that I have learned to like after watching it 5 times in the last few days. There are some truly funny moments that outshine the rest of the jokes that sound like a 7-year-old would write it. The movie is predictable, cringe, and there's an added time travel paradox that every time travel movie makes, and it just adds so much more confusion to the movie because it literally doesn't make sense. Especially in this case, you'll get what I mean when I talk about it later. And although the cast is full of stars, I think the voices were poorly chosen besides a few of the characters like Steve, Broadbeak, and Ranger. I'm sorry, just Owen Wilson and Woody Harrelson as turkeys. I mean, I love them, but I don't see this guy being a turkey. Yeah, what? And the animation is done well, especially when it does need to look nice, like the time traveling and the battle scene and the nest being destroyed. That all looks great, and this movie did have to perform well, especially with the other movies that were coming out around this time, like Frozen, Monsters University, and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too. But after 10 plus years, does this movie still do justice to Thanksgiving, or do these birds cause more pain than peace? Well, let's take a look at it. Our movie begins with stating the obvious, that this is not meant to be historically accurate. And trust me, barely anything about this is accurate. Anyways, we find ourselves with a screaming turkey, Reggie, who is the outsider of his flock, and only he realizes the dangers of being a stupid turkey. He doesn't fit in, and trying to make friends is tough, and his paranoia made him an outcast. All the other turkeys believe the world is made of only corn, and that's all there is to life besides going to turkey paradise. But Reggie knows the truth, that the turkeys on the farm are getting fattened up to be eaten for Thanksgiving. Now, what jive turkey would believe in such lunacy, except maybe this guy?
Reggie's been right all along.
And with nobody to call his family, Reggie wants to find his flock, afraid of being alone his whole life. Just then, a whirl of winds echoed the turkey coop, sending the farm into a frenzy. After years of warning the flock, Reggie was right all along.
But did you know that Reggie is the anti-corn? Devil be gone with ye.
And cast him into the hellfire.
The other turkeys surround Reggie and kick him out of the nest, leaving him to become Thanksgiving dinner. But luckily for Reggie, he's staying off the menu this year, as he gets chosen to become the presidential pardon turkey. It's crazy, right? At first, the president is reluctant, saying Reggie ain't big enough. Which, is that like a rule for pardon turkeys? They gotta weigh a certain amount? Get the big old fat turkeys? Gobble gobble. It's just something to ponder about as the nation falls apart. And good God, I hate the president's kid in this movie. He sucks. Not only is she begging to save this turkey, but then she starts fake crying and oh my God. And she's doing it. Give me the attention. I want it. No, ew. But because of her freaking out, the president gives in and Reggie is saved to be taken away to Camp David and live out his life in luxury. Or so he thought.
Ooh.
And this line,
And that's Paul. He's getting a divorce.
that's so funny. Like I said, there were a few one-liners like this that I was audibly but then it'd be just awful. They arrive back to Camp David where General Sagan meets them, and the president's daughter keeps insulting everyone around her before what I suppose is her narcolepsy kicks in and she passes out. Reggie takes the TV remote from the sleeping child and starts watching TV, becoming inspired to embrace his lone wolf after some inspiration from Nacho Libre, and his life of luxury begins. And night after night, he's just ordering pizzas, like 20 pizzas a night, and no one seems to question this at the camp. They're like, hey, the turkey called up Chuck E. Cheese again, and the stoner guy is showing up delivering the pizzas. And that too, why are they gonna do a stereotype with that in every damn movie, okay? The pizza guy, okay, it's true. In a lot of, in my area, the hungry, That's besides the point. Reggie's new attitude gives him an ego that is more cringe than anything, literally thinking he's some lone wolf alpha male dude that flies solo. But things can only be great for so long, and as Reggie lays down to relax one night, a shadow figure appears in his room and kidnaps him. We meet Jake from the TFF. That's Turkey Freedom Front to you, moron. And he tells Reggie he's been recruited to a top secret mission. And good God, this interaction between them is... it's bad. The dialogue is very predictable. It's cringe. It doesn't really feel like it moves anywhere. Especially when they make Jake really stupid. And I get it. Reggie earlier was saying that turkeys are dumb. But they just made him really dumb. Really dumb. And he's very brave and noble, and that's great and everything, and he helps out a lot of people throughout the movie. It's more of the annoying idiot than the helpful fool. He is helpful 20% of the movie, but it's he's bad, good. Bad, good. Jake tells Reggie that the Great Turkey sent him on a mission as a child to find Reggie at Camp David and to steal a top secret time machine in order to go back to the first Thanksgiving and get turkey off the menu. And there's also this really dumb fourth wall break, but Jake's just talking to reflection. It's silly. Laugh. I hate myself. After finding their way into the secret entrance of the underground military base, Jake and Reggie spot a map on the wall. To ye old Navy they head to. I mean to the time machine. Reggie though has other plans. He tricks Jake to head to the exit instead, but Reggie isn't as smart as he thinks he is, and after trying to use his presidential pardon turkey card, the security team tries to set him on fire. Dumbass turkey. Anyways, the two of them escape and make their way to the launch bay for the time machine, which just so happens to be starting up and opening the doors right as they're running up to it. They didn't hit a button to open it or anything like that. Crazy timing. Reggie is terrified and wants pizza. Jake is adamant on a mission from the Great Turkey to save the turkeys of the future, past, and present. The military base goes on lockdown as they breach the time travel container. And as this guy escapes the time travel egg-looking machine, Jake and Reggie take his spot as the chair tightens itself on Jake's butt. And through the time-space continuum, they go. And this entire sequence here was really well animated. I liked it. It was okay, that's kind of funny. It looks good. And we'll see how it moves along in the movie, but from this point on out, it just, I don't know, a lot of the jokes feel forced, and it just starts to get a little dry and boring. Yeah. The time machine is named Steve, and Steve is the only character I like. Played by George Takei. This voice in the movie feels like one of the most accurate voices that they have to get in there. Him, Chief Broadbeak, Ranger, like those guys, they all sound good, right? Keith David does really well as Broadbeak. But then, again, Owen Wilson is the turkey.
Wow.
They arrive to the old Cape Cod Bay, where they show up in time just for the first Thanksgiving, which is happening in a few days. The real Thanksgiving is extremely complicated with hundreds of different factors that actually play into it, and it's over a span of so much time, like hundreds of years, honestly, really looking at it, and all the events that led up to it, and everything that was after it. But here's kind of like the really super simple of it. Colonists show up to Plymouth. A lot of them die over the winter because they suck at growing food. In the area, there are multiple tribes of Native Americans who are warring with each other and the colonists in the area. One of the tribes, the Wampanoag people, they go up to the colonists and are like, hey, mutual treaty for a bit. They agree, and then the white people, you know, we know how that goes, but they need to team up. Squanto chimes in, and all ends in peace until disease comes and kills off all the natives. And that goes on for a very long time. And now we celebrate it like it's a big party, which, you know, it's really weird that you don't learn about that until like after school. When you look it up and you're like, what the fuck? This is awful. The first Thanksgiving wasn't some big party that all the natives and colonists got together to celebrate. It was more of a small peace-dealing negotiation in order to keep everyone in the area alive through another winter and against further attacks. But again, peace treaties usually get broken, like by some nations we know. Anyways, Jake and Reggie leave the time machine as it charges up its power reserves. They take a stroll through the woods, being watched by both turkeys and hunters. A shot rips through a tree, and a pack of dogs take chase. And something about these dogs really pisses me off. Something about certain animals, like around this time frame that were animated, especially dogs, like some of them, like the side characters of the animal world and animation, they just got this weird, uncanny look to it. It's like, crazy. Reggie is surrounded, cowering in fear, before being saved by a well-tossed nut and quick thinking from these wild turkeys posted in the trees. We're introduced to a few other main characters of our story, including Ranger, Jenny, and my favorite character, the turkey version of Chicken Joe, Cody. I don't really know what this guy's name is. I gotta look that up. What would I look up for this? Who's the stoner turkey in Freebirds? Oh my god, my nose is itchy. Oh, his name's Danny. Danny! Chicken Joe. Danny. His name's Danny, by the way. Anyways, we're back. But why are we hunting these turkeys, though? And who the hell is this Shaw from Open Season looking ass dude? It's none other than Captain Miles Standish, who was a real person at this time. Standish was hired as a military advisor to the Plymouth colonies by the English government during this time frame. But do I think he was a crazed turkey hunter? No. Do I think he got caught in a repeating time loop? No. That might have been faked for the movie. Don't believe everything. As the group of turkeys run off, now slowed down by the addition of Reggie and Jake, two of the birds get captured. One of them I think the writers made, like special needs, and the other one is Mexican or something. I don't know turkeys. Does that make sense? It's just so weird because you would think they would all. I mean, there were like Spanish people in the area, so, but you know what I mean? Like he's like from. I don't know. It's weird. It's funny, but like I don't know. Like, and some of the turkeys are red, some are blue. Some are really smart, some are dumb. And it's like, I know turkeys' heads change colors, like when they get like aggravated or like horned up and stuff like that. But it's like, what? I mean, I could be thinking about this way too much, but anyways. Also, I love that they used dynamite, even though that wasn't invented for like 250 years later, unless if they're using some type of like just all black powder enclosed with a fuse and then they light it and toss it. But even doing that, like, wouldn't that kill, like, the explosion, wouldn't that destroy a turkey? Like, it's a little weird. With the turkeys escaping, the group bunkers down to discuss their next step of action. Ranger says they must go back to the nest with the group, but Jake is set on destroying the colonists' fort. Ranger and Jake begin to argue, doing a big old gobble gobble puffin butt smash off with each other. I don't know, they're just trying to assert dominance. Before Jenny puts an end to the argument, and the group takes off to their nest. At the fort, we meet the governor, he's hilarious. Just a big fat guy. He's always begging for food and eating. It's so funny. And he's doing all this while everyone else is starving. Like, this dude even dies. Check it out. But the food they have in storage that the colonists want must be saved for the feast in a few days with the Wampanoag Native American tribe. And although Standish didn't bring back the feast they were hoping for, he makes promise that if they want turkeys, they'll get them turkeys. And this is also one of the real facts in the movies, that the colonists, they did meet with this tribe, the Wampanoag people. But it wasn't for funsies. Like I said, it was like the peace treaty, like, hey, everyone's gonna frickin' die type. Not like, hey, get a turkey. They didn't even like, I don't even think they like mentioned turkeys or anything like that at the first Thanksgiving. No pumpkin pie. It was, you know, some waterfowl, other little birds, venison, corn. Like, they didn't have, bring me that fucking buttered up glazed turkey. I want the dark meat. You didn't have that. What are you talking about? Hey, pass the stuffing. Fucking bullshit. Again, colonists were dying off, like, in huge numbers. I think like half of them died off in the first winter. So it was like, alright, well, you know, they probably ate the women. I'm gonna assume that. I'm gonna assume they started eating people for food. Who knows? Back at the nest, Reggie begins his little turkey trot interest into Jenny. And we saw earlier that Reggie ain't no ladies' man. In fact, he's much more of the alpha macho tough El solo lobo. Yeah, so be ready for some really cringy turkey love. Whatever that means. Jake takes center stage and tries to warn the turkeys of Thanksgiving, asking them to follow him blindly. This is before he's interrupted by Broadbeak, the leader of the flock, played by Keith David. Broadbeak goes on a spiel about how the hunters forced them to the undergrounds in order to survive. Jake explains that it's his destiny bestowed upon him by the great turkey to save everyone and prevent Thanksgiving from ever serving turkey for dinner. But Broadbeak has a different future for the flock in mind. Look at the little chickies. Cheep, 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 cheep.
Oh, she wants you to throw up some worms into her mouth.
Alright, hear me out. Judy Hopps from Zootopia and Jenny from Freebirds. Yeah? Dear Godfather, please forgive me for the sins. Anyways, at the hunter's camp, Standish's crew thinks he's losing his edge. Not that edge. Oh fuck, I'm gonna bust a fucking nut. But Standish always makes his quarry. Not that type of quarry. And he sets out to new grounds to hunt for those turkeys. As the hunters take off, the turkeys also set off for their daily quests in order to keep the flock safe. Jenny and Reggie take off to spring traps the hunters set, and Ranger and Jake head to the fort to scout it out for danger, and their competition for biggest idiot begins. Meanwhile, Reggie's stuck being a weirdo with Jenny up in the trees.
No way! Kiss me.
Reggie!
What?
One good thing about Reggie though is he's an expert trap destroyer, as he Cirque du Soleil's his way through death setting the traps off. Maybe that'll be enough to get some sweet beak from Jenny. Oh fuck, I'm gonna bust. They continue setting off traps before being tracked down by Standish and his dogs. Follow the two of them as they run off and hide in the time machine Steve before being launched into space, sending Standish into shock, thinking the turkeys are committing witchcraft or something.
Hocus pocus, turkey don't focus.
The two of them observe the beauty of Earth and space, share a lovely moment of peace, and even practice a little bit of wing holding before being dropped back down to Earth. Steve lets Reggie know the time machine is fully charged and ready to go back to the present time, but Reggie has his mind set on bringing Jenny back to the future with him, and away from the risk of being the first Thanksgiving dinner. Let's check in on our other love interests, Jake and Ranger. Oh well, I'll just let you two lovers get a room.
Beautiful, magnifico,
After recreating my 3rd grade dance routine in the talent show, the 2 dummies make their way to the fort, start scouting and spot the colonists getting the dinner tables ready. They also spot the building the hunters use to hold their weapons and gunpowder. I hope Jake doesn't get too explosive bit of an idea. Jake disappears from Ranger and runs off to kidnap Reggie. His mission? Go destroy the hunters' weapons. Before he's kidnapped though, Reggie and Jenny discuss their dreams and what their future may hold, but Jenny can't leave the flock, especially with the hunters after her and her family. But before she can say more, her voice drops silent as she turns around to find Reggie missing. As Jake forces Reggie to go with him to the fort, we learn a little more about our big dumb turkey friend, who keeps telling Reggie that his destiny was set by the great turkey. But like Reggie, I gotta ask, who is this great turkey? We get a little backstory from Jake on how he met the great turkey. We learn that Jake came from a factory farm, hidden by his mother from the evil scientists. And as the other turkeys got fat enough to be eaten, Jake's mother hid him from the day he was hatched. One day, his mother entrusted Jake with 3 eggs. Jake was meant to escape and lead the eggs to safety to start a new flock. However, Jake couldn't escape with the eggs, and he could only save himself. Slowly, he became depressed knowing that he let his family down, only able to run away due to his failure. But on his journey away from the factory farm, a flash of white light came from the sky and gifted him a secret doorknob. Secret doorknob. Secret doorknob. This white light protruded the one and only Great Turkey. Now, does he need this doorknob? Not really. The only thing I can think of at this moment of why the doorknob would even be there is that Jake is really stupid and Reggie knows that. So he would be like, oh yeah, Jake will trust the Great Turkey because he's getting a gift from a god turkey. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only reason. There's no other point for it to be there. Maybe just like subtle foreshadowing to come. Wait, did I just spoil it? Oops. Reggie from the get-go of the movie is extremely paranoid and knows this is what humans do. But once he's saved, he could not give a crap about the other turkeys anymore. This is until Jake kidnapped him, forcing him out of his El Solo Lobo mindset. And this can be extracted out of all of us truthfully. Witnessing pain and struggle and then pretending like it doesn't exist to protect yourself once you're out of harm's way can create more harm. Turning a blind eye to a turkey in distress is ungodly, motherfucker. Anyways, Reggie joins Jake's plan to blow up the weapons once he realizes that this plan can save Jenny and get her into the future. Reggie sneakily and stealthily makes his way into the fort with Jake's help after distracting the guard dogs with a laser pointer that's just, magically on the presidential TV remote that he's still carrying around. Do turkeys have pockets like kangaroos? Turkey pockets, is that a thing? Possibly something to quander. With the guards distracted, Reggie places a barrel of gunpowder into the weapons room and sets a fuse. Meanwhile, Jake makes his way into Standish's wagon to set the second fuse. But be careful, Jake. Standish is always going to keep an eye on you.
I don't want to wear short pants.
Jake continues to set the fuse, while also setting his mind on stealing the powder horn Indiana Jones style. By the way, Jake, please, free these 2 while you're doing all this. Imagine he didn't and they just boom! Now outside the fort, the birds watch as the lit fuse makes its way to the weapons room and blows up. The explosion shakes the wagon of Standish, and he wakes up just moments before his wagon is blown up. He kicks out the barrel and avoiding the last of the weapons being destroyed. They all make their way back to the nest, with Jake boasting about his newly acquired powder horn to show off to Ranger. Sadly, and extremely predictable, obviously, the powder horn left a trail of gunpowder behind him, leading all the way back to their location. Standish knows these turkeys are different, and pretty soon, he finds his way to the nest because of Jake's mistake. Jake, ashamed of this, runs off as Broadbeak and the others try to escape, and the hunters surround and begin to destroy the nest. As part of the flock escapes only to be captured, Standish sets fire to the tree, blocking the escape of the remaining turkeys before sending in the dogs to hunt them down. Now trapped in the fire, Jenny and Reggie must make the decision of whether or not to save the chicks from the nursery. But lucky for them, someone was thinking ahead of time, as Jake swings through the flames with the saved eggs and chicks. And of course, like any children's animated movie, we need the semi-absent, fairly loving but fairly stern father to make a sacrifice and die. And he must do this to protect his children from the evils of the world. As burning debris falls, he saves them from the attacking dogs and urges them to safety. As Reggie and Jenny jump to safety, the flaming debris falls upon him, cooking him perfectly to a crisp. And now I'm hungry. But I have to say, when Reggie and Jenny jump, when they jump down this hole, it's so funny. I don't know why, just them going down, the fire, everything, it just... Great. Yeah, and then they swim up and they're 100 yards from shore. Can turkeys swim that well? I would think they would float. Why would they sink? Do turkeys sink or float? I gotta look that up. Who's got a pet turkey? Test this out on. Anyways, Jenny and her flock watch from the shoreline as her home, her life, and her future burn away. Eventually, the rest of the survivors make their way back to the destroyed nest and do a burial ritual for Chief Broadbeak, flapping their wings to send their feathers into the winds, putting their leader in the wings of their ancestors. With this, a new chief of the tribe must be chosen, and the half-shell necklace that Chief Broadbeak had worn must match with one of his 2 children. Whichever it matches with will be the new chief. At first, everyone thinks it will be Ranger, but Jenny is the true tribe leader. And god damn, she is pissed. She's immediately like, war! No! Ugh! Which brings Reggie to the realization that they're just not gonna save Thanksgiving from ever happening. And unbeknownst to her, Reggie is ready to leave in the time machine and forget all about this. Jake tries to stop him, but Reggie is done believing in Jake's lies, and he takes the time machine back to Camp David in the modern timeline. And now this is when things ramp up another level of stupid. And I'm not gonna write so much about time travel paradoxes. I did that on the Shrek 4 video that I posted the other month. That was 15 pages of writing about that. So I just know this scene is kind of stupid. As Reggie goes into his house at Camp David, a second version of him from the further future comes back to tell him that he's an idiot and that he needs to get turkeys off the menu. Naturally, Reggie freaks out, and as he's trying to shut the door, he rips off the secret time travel doorknob.
It's the time travel doorknob.
The whole time, you don't mean to tell me Reggie is... Future Reggie tells him that everything he wants is back in 1621, but Reggie has a hard time believing that after knowing he screwed everything up. This is when a third version of Reggie comes in, an even more further future Reggie, and he tells them that Jenny and the turkeys attacked the fort and fail, so they need his help. And this is something that even the second turkey that showed up didn't even know. So that's alright, well, did he not go and then went back in the past, and then they also failed, and then they, you know what I mean? It's just ew. Whoa, the background on Windows just changed right now, it's crazy. But what we do know is that Reggie finally realizes that he was the great turkey all along, and that it is his destiny to go back in time to warn Jake about getting turkeys off the menu for Thanksgiving, something Jake was right about the whole time. Reggie takes off in the time machine to give Jake his destiny, and the Great Turkey Pilgrim War of 1621 is set to occur. In addition, Ranger and Jake put aside their differences, realizing that the safety of the group is more important than their egos. Reggie arrives in the past and gives Jake his premonition of saving the turkeys, before setting Steve's coordinates back to 1621. Shooting through time and space. On the ridge outside the fort, the Great War begins. This scene it's well done, except for the really lame Angry Birds joke. And it's also 10 seconds long. The final battle scene is extremely short. But besides that, it all seems historically accurate. Like the turkeys using pumpkin catapults. I've seen it in my day. But again, this entire ending fight was just way too short for the grand finale. Anyways, Jenny leads the charge to the fort as fire pumpkins rain down upon the colonists. Standish orders them to fire the cannons upon the turkeys. A little overkill, but it's pretty cool. The cannonballs are nearly inches away from decapitating the birds, like that one guy in the movie The Patriot. That was awesome. But instead of killing them, a whirlpool of electrical energy forms in the sky above everyone, and the metal in the cannons, and guns get sucked up into the sky. Standish, wild with rage, jumps onto one of the floating cannons for the most insane MLG trick shot of all time. But his physics class must have got cut early, because he blasts himself into the whirlpool of space and time, gone forever, to repeat his failure for all of time. The time machine floats down from the sky, with everyone in amazement and awe, revealing Reggie as the Great Turkey. Jake is astounded that Reggie was the Great Turkey all along, his best friend. Reggie also didn't want to show up empty-handed, I hope he brought pizzas.
No fucking way, a Chuck E. Cheese pizza, let's go.
Right on. Sadly, I've never been to a Chuck E. Cheese because like a few weeks before my parents were gonna take my sister, they found like a dead body in a nearby dumpster. So we didn't. Yeah. Anyways. With everyone living in peace, the governor gives his thanks to Reggie. And as Reggie sits there, surrounded by everyone, he finally understands the true meaning of Thanksgiving. Being there for one another with those who love and respect you. To thank them for all the good times and help they've been in making your life a better thing. And that's something for everyone to know really on any holiday you spend with others. But I will be a staunch advocate for not spending time with people who hate you, even if they're family. You're an adult, and so are your family members. If they're ungrateful, narcissistic, egotistical assholes who show no form of respect at all and don't care and love you, fuck them. I honestly couldn't care less about them. And that's after like a decade plus of trying. It's like, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. But that's a side note for you folks. For me, I'm gonna watch the Lions possibly get their ass kicked and stuff my fat face with turkey, taters, and meatballs. But just like Reggie, we must all find where we belong, because maybe the family we're born into isn't the best family for us. After all, Jake sets off into the time machine to continue his turkey guy adventures, and Reggie and Jenny solidify their new love with a kiss, putting an end to this turkey trot of adventures. But before we end there, I gotta just show you the best. This was the funniest part in the whole movie.
Shut up, Fatty. Oh, hey, Gerald.
I can't lie, my socks were filled with shit after laughing at that joke. It may have been exemplified by the exuberant amount of substances I may have been on. But that is the movie Freebirds. This was my first time experiencing this movie. Whew, not the best. I thought it was funny at times and animated well, even though a lot of the writing was wishy-washy, as is a lot of writing after like 20 years ago. Once everyone started getting off of coke, the writing got really boring. Like at least do like a shitload of shit now or something. Like, need ideas. And I get it if your audience is primarily kids, but it's like at least toss way more stuff in there to make it enjoyable for old people. You know, I want like we always talk about how Shrek is still so good and it's so old. But you know, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know and follow along for more content like this and a lot of other stuff. Keep this movie on radar for your next Thanksgiving and be prepared to watch some Christmas movies soon with us. We've got Evil Grinch, Christmas Karens, and a zombie Christmas musical. And it's all gonna be great.
Great.
Again, thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.